on your mind, my friend?
I'm thrilled to have this platform. Thank you for giving it to me. I could talk about this ad
Yes.
nauseum.
Yes.
It's my life, man. So I was unfortunately, like, I just saw I'm all over the place. I just saw a post today
Okay.
that really resonated with me. It was, people that become obsessed with psychology, horoscopes, spirituality, stuff like that. It's because they were not heard or supported as a child, so they gravitate toward that, I guess, that whole realm because you want to understand people so
Hmm.
desperately in the hopes that someone will take interest and want to understand you. And I was like, oh, it's so sad, but that's so me.
Really?
Because, yeah, my whole life I was the black sheep. I
Mhm.
am 41 years old now. And
You know,
it
you,
was
you're not
just,
supposed to come. You're not supposed to come on my show and start lying. Lying is not. It's not accepted here on the
all
show.
right,
So we'll give you 30. We'll give you 31, 32 maybe. But go ahead.
I like
And,
it.
and Joe, by the way, Joe's her husband. If, for you that are watching, haven't met Joe yet, the handsome Joe, the stylish and handsome, and we're brothers in hair because our hair is.
By the
He
way,
is. He looked like he's looked like he's. You got a young one there. I think he's like 28, right? He looked like he's. You snatched him up early.
by a year.
Oh
By
wow. Okay.
actually not a full year, it's like 10 months. But
Okay.
for
All
that,
right.
like September, October, for like a month and a half, we're like the same age.
Oh
And
really? Okay.
yeah, he lets me know every moment he possibly can during that time.
Okay. You were saying
We got
because
married October. My birthday is September 7th. Joe's birthday is November 2nd. So during that time that we're the same age, that's when we got married, October 4th of,
wow,
yeah.
really. Look at that. And by the way, great wedding pictures on your Instagram. I saw them on with my fingers going on. My fingers all over the place here. My hands are. I'm getting used to where the camera's right in front of me. Anyhow, so yeah, great pictures. You were highlighting some points that people can keep in mind if it applies to them in regards to being the black sheep of the family and dealing with a narcissistic mother.
Yeah, it's such an ominous, awful, oppressive feeling. And I just want to put it out there as much as I possibly can because it's such a terrible position to be in as a human being. But as a person, as a son or a daughter, trying to make a connection with your flippin' parent that is absolutely unavailable. And it's so sad, but it's something that we have to grieve. That has been a pivotal part of my healing is
Mhm.
just reconciling it is what it is. There's nothing
Yeah.
we can do.
Well, that was one of the things you actually touched on it. You said the G word there, grieve. That was one of the things that I had as a note to bring out when we did our audience of one, where we had no audience, and we did a pre-recording a few days ago. But what I wanted to touch on is that grieving part. You've come to recognize that's an important thing that needed to happen.
Yeah.
But when you were dealing with the the abuse and the manipulation, the control. You never thought that you would have to grieve, right?
Right. You know what? That I'll get back. I'll circle back to
Okay.
this.
Yeah.
Abuse is a big word.
Okay.
Pin in that, we'll come back to it.
Okay.
But yes, most certainly, it's not anything that you're prepared for. It's like you
Okay.
have two physically present parents, right? Or I did. Well,
Mm-hmm.
whatever your situation is, maybe it's a mother or a father, maybe they're not together. But if they're a narcissist, they they're as good as gone. And it's ironic because my husband had only a mother. He was raised by his mom. And God bless that woman. She unfortunately is passed, but God bless her. She was absolutely incredible. But Joe's dad was a narcissist that he left his mom with Joe and his brother. So Joe had kind of like the opposite of my situation. Like, he had a narcissistic father, but the guy took off on him. Like, I had a narcissistic mother, but she was present during my whole life. It's like, what's more damaging? It's like, you know.
If you had to describe the damaging part, and please remember, we put a pin in a couple of things we can circle back to, but I want to touch on that aspect of the damaging. What do you consider that was damaging that you know you don't want to pass on to your children?
I'm thankfully, I have progressed light years from where I started. I started this like early 2019, and it's early 2022, and I feel awesome. And I wasn't certain how I was going to proceed with no contact or low contact. I recently put up a video about that. But, you know, my best advice to people, do whatever is the least aggravation for you. You know, these people have been targeting you and hurting you your entire life. Now it's on your terms. Now the ball is in our court, and it's time to do things for our well-being, to look out for ourselves. So, like, I have my master's in psychology. What I was saying about, you know, they say that people that gravitate to psychology, astrology, things of that nature, you're fascinated. I am fascinated by human development and understanding people. And, you know, they say that that's kind of essentially it's a trauma response, because when I was younger, nobody cared about me or getting to know me. They were constantly, and this is the most insidious thing about narcissistic parents, is that it's so subtle and it's so covert and hidden. It's like, I'll get back to I was saying, like, abuse is such a big, heavy word, and people don't like to apply it to themselves, particularly when you're the black sheep, because you were taught this is the way, you know, everything was normalized. You know, the mistreatment.
The abuse was normalized, is what you're saying. The mistreatment.
Absolutely. And like, these people's disorders, the narcissist and the enabler, in my case, it was a henchman, my father. He was 1,000% the enabler. And they're just two very disordered people that are normalizing themselves and their cruelty to their own child. It's like, it's absolutely incomprehensible to a good, decent human being, particularly when you have, you know, a lot of people don't realize this until they're like in my age range. But I'm grateful for platforms like yours, you know, just educating people. It's so important. Like, I wish somebody pulled me aside decades ago and said, this is what's going on. It's not a healthy dynamic. You are being mistreated and targeted.
Well, that's okay. So now I have to ask you this then. Nobody pulled you aside. How in the world did you begin this educating of yourself, Michele? How did this moment happen that you went like, wait a minute?
Like that.
What?
Ironically, like most black sheep of the family, I gravitated to a narcissistic partner. I don't
Oh,
romantic. It was more like an entanglement with this creep, jerk, loser that just rode the coattails of my awful, abusive upbringing. You
really?
know,
How do you really feel about him? Describe him. No, I'm just kidding.
he
It's
lived
like 20 names in a second. Well, go ahead. Evidently a bad experience for you. Okay,
be,
go ahead.
conservative about it. But he was
You're
flinging,
being very good today. You're being very, very good today. I don't have to hit a button to bleep for the bleeping. But go ahead, go ahead.
I
You're doing
said,
great.
I got it down.
You got it down. Yes, you do. This is a family show. But go ahead. You're doing great. Go ahead.
He was
So
such,
the boyfriend.
and he was, we actually got engaged at one point. And I
Wow.
had a super healthy, beautiful, wonderful relationship with Joe, my husband now. Like I broke up with Joe numerous times.
Time out. No, no, you can't just no. You can't stick that in and keep going. You broke up with Joe, the man who took the kids to go see Batman just the other day. What was that? What we did the show on Sunday? We did it on a week ago Sunday or something like that. So you
Five
broke up with him.
broke up with him.
Well, I need to do an intervention with him. He probably's not. He's still probably not over that. He's really.
Yeah,
You chose the knucklehead instead of him. He's like,
he
go ahead.
brings up often.
He should. He should. He should bring it up. He go like, you passed up this for
Yes.
that.
We
I
were
was gonna like, what's
in
your
love
problem?
with each other freshman year of college. We
Okay.
knew we were like soulmates, but I just totally went off the rails. I joined my sorority and I was like, I don't know what to do with this. This is healthy. You actually love me. I'm not used to that. Let me go find a creep that'll treat me like crap.
Really? Seriously, you did that? I'm talking to an intelligent, beautiful. We've had numerous conversations, and I am just surprised you're telling me this right now. This is,
It's all part of
I
this.
cannot. What was it? Wait, what was it about the other guy? Give me my hand back over here. What was it about the other guy that made you set Joe aside and go rushing toward him? What would just as
Immediate.
what?
It was not immediate. So I broke up with Joe when I was probably like, I don't know, 20. We met when we were like 18. And
Okay.
I didn't start dating this creep till I was like 21. So I was,
So within 12 months or thereabouts, within 18 months, you decided that what was it about him that was similar to your mom, the narcissistic person?
I obviously have daddy issues. That's an easy
I
one.
did not expect this today in the show. I have no idea where this is going now. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Part of the picture. But like my
Okay.
father, which is just as useless as the narc. When you have a narcissistic parent, they will dismantle the entire family. It
Oh
becomes
wait, that's really good. If you have a narcissistic parent, they will dismantle the entire family.
it's no one is spared.
No one, grandchildren, doesn't matter. Everyone gets to come. Everybody gets a chance at bat, and they tear them down. Say it again.
They will suck everyone into their dysfunction, their disorder.
Okay.
And
Wow.
narcissists are control freaks. So my father was her enabler. And I have said this in our last interview, I think. He was pretty much an inverted narcissist.
Okay, what does that mean?
Is like, it's basically somebody that kind of rides the coattails of the primary narcissist.
Okay.
It's like they almost want to be as evil and heartless and cruel, but they don't have the maliciousness in them to do. But they're just as abusive and guilty by proxy because
Okay.
they witness it, they condone it. So that was my father, He always sided with this woman. Like, I would try to approach him and go to him like to speak about things or to speak about the narc. And I would be like, he's got to see this. It's horrible the way she's being. And he would defend her to the death every time.
There was no validation and compassion for you then.
Absolutely not. Even like all throughout life, like validation is priceless. I mean, like I said, I studied narcissism for my graduate degree, and it's so funny because I remember it was a Saturday class about personality disorders, and my professor was a female, and she made a very flippant joke about it. She was like, "I'm a narcissist." And that was it. That's as far as
it got, as far as it went.
It's so sad, man. It's like, look, I went to college back early 2000s, late night, so it was like 99, or narcissism was not on the radar back then.
Right.
Now, like, even when the loser ex dumped me or discarded me, I went to Barnes and Noble, the self-help section about relationships, and I just loaded. I'm so mad. I'm going to do that next time. I have this book on my bookshelf.
Okay. All right.
It's Controlling People by Patricia Evans, and that's the book that just sailed me through that breakup. Like, he ditched me because I was kind of onto him. Like, thank God I've had this indelible, like, fight in me, I guess.
Well, so, you have to have fight. You have let me see if notes from the show. You have an MA and a BA, correct? Did I get that right? You have,
bachelor, yeah, I guess, yeah, BA.
I can't remember offhand, but you're a learned woman. You have always been able to think your way out of a box for survival purposes. You have encountered a lifestyle and a way of living right now that you didn't plan for because you have multiple sclerosis. You have MS.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and you have in your wheelchair, and you are more of a pit bull fighter than a lot of people think. You find a way to not just join the bandwagon of being a coach per se, but you want to stand out and tell your story and give back as much as possible out of your own pocket, if need be.
I was, in a roundabout way, I was getting to this. I learned about that I was in a narcissistic abuse situation when, by the grace of God, videos started appearing in my YouTube feed about narcissism. So it was early 2019, and I watched it, and I was like, Joe, because Joe and I always used to be like, what is wrong with these people? Like, my parents,
Right.
We couldn't figure it out because it's so, like I said, covert, passive aggressive, like very underhanded. And I watched a YouTube video and I was like, oh my God, that's them. And that's why I pay it forward with all this stuff, because I'm so blessed to,
You never had an idea of what you were dealing with. And we're talking technically you and Joe had no idea what you were dealing with the family situation. Yeah. It started to make some sense. When did you decide that you were going to be this spokesman about black sheep and what's happening with narcissistic moms and the dynamics of narcissism? When did you decide to open up an Instagram page and a YouTube channel? And what got you on this journey? We understand the background, but it's one thing to have a background and live your life privately. But for you to come out publicly like this and stand your ground.
I know.
Yeah, look at you go. I know. Yeah, right. You've been like this for a while, haven't you? You're just a fighter, huh?
No, man. Like
No, no, man. I'm
I
gonna
was
talk to Joe. Let me talk to Joe and your children. I think they'll tell me something different.
I was a shadow of the woman I am today.
Wow.
Wouldn't even recognize me when I was in the thick of all of that. Like
Hmm.
Joe and I talk about everything all the time, and we talk about like when I was with that loser, like I was on my game, man. I was like my young 20s. I was cute. I was
Yeah.
successful. I was getting my master's, like all those things. And he made me feel like a piece of garbage. And
Wow.
like you start to believe it when someone's treating you that way. And it, particularly when it comes from your own flipping parents again. And I had a
Yeah.
brother. I don't speak to any of them. They're
What got you to this moment where you don't feel emotionally safe dealing with them? What got you to this moment? What
well,
happened that made you then go no contact?
I like I said, I started to navigate like low contact. I was trying to do the gray rock thing, which
Hmm.
is like yes or no answers, like not giving them all the supply that they live for.
Hmm.
So I realized she, the narc mother, she came over here one day. She had some nerve, man. Like I said, in this wheelchair, she came into this kitchen and I was like avoiding her calls. I was kind of avoiding her just because I was trying to like process stuff,
Hmm. Okay.
figure out what I was going to do.
Hmm.
And she had like a narcissistic rage. It's like the equivalent of a tantrum of a
Uh-huh.
child. It's
Hmm.
like they just carry on and they can't deal with opposition or someone not constantly stroking their ego. And that's what I always did because she was my mother, right? I was brainwashed into thinking we're your parents, you know? We can do no wrong. And I just, so she came over to my house the one day and oh, it's so disgusting. She actually texted Joe to make sure that he was at work. And she was like, Joe, are you at work? And he was like, yes. She did not respond back. She just swooped over here with the henchman because we only live like 10 minutes away from them, sadly. And she sent him in first because he's her henchman. He's always doing her bidding. And he was like, why aren't you talking to mommy? I have so many things to speak on about it. But why are you talking to mommy? And I
Right.
was like, I'm fine. I'm good, man. Because at this point, I had also realized
Hmm.
you can't get anywhere with these people ever. There is no speaking to them.
Hmm.
They are, it's like talking to a brick wall. They will never self reflect. They will never do any type of analysis or self. They are without fault in their deluded minds. So I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done trying all these years making myself crazy. And I was like, I'm good. I'm good. And she comes in after the henchman. She was all like crying and like a big production. And she was like, why don't you want to talk to me, Michele? Why don't you want to talk to me? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I was like, I'm fine, fine. And then because they just push you and push you and push you until you finally engage. And I named a couple of things out of the like bazillion that she did to hurt me or disrespect me. And she proceeded to deny it, or toxic amnesia, that's called, where they just straight deny something, or
Hmm.
historical revisionism, where they just change the facts in their favor.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm done. I looked at her face, I looked in her eyes, and I was like, this woman is so far gone. It's beyond the scope of anything.
Did you find for yourself, after you made the decision to try to preserve the peace of your own home, you of course had children at the time this was happening, and you're trying to protect your children and you trying to preserve a measure of peace and sanity for your own home and in your own relationship with Joe, it didn't stop there, did it?
No, like as a mother, I look at our children and I love them and I treasure them.
Mm-hmm.
I cherish them, and it's just inconceivable that anyone could see their child differently, but narcissists view their children as property, essentially. It's absolutely disgusting. It's reprehensible, but it is their perception. And Joe and I, like, we strive to let our children know that we love them, we see them, we respect them, we appreciate them. And for the rest of my life, I will do that. You know, I will support and love these children. And we had a son. We talked about this briefly. We have a son, but he passed of brain cancer in 2013. And I'm going to work. This is something I didn't get to say, so I'm going to say it this time.
Okay. All right.
Joey was
this is your son Joey that has since passed away.
Yes, he passed away at 3 years old. So he was 2 years old and he was diagnosed with brain cancer. It was 4 months after the birth of our older daughter, Madeline.
Okay.
So Maddie was born July of 2011, and Joey was diagnosed literally the day after Thanksgiving of 2011. Joe took him for an MRI the day before Thanksgiving, and then they rushed us up to CHOP Hospital in Philadelphia, and the neurosurgeon wouldn't tell us anything on Thanksgiving because that was inconvenient for them. So the day after Thanksgiving, they did the craniotomy and told us it was glioblastoma multiforme, and which is basically a death sentence. There's no getting around it or over nothing. So I was like, this is going to have an impact on my mother. Nothing else gets through to this woman. She is cold as the day is long.
Wow.
It's going to change her perspective and appreciation for her grandchildren. And while we were going through all these treatments with Joey, I was diagnosed with MS way back in 2020. So that was it. I wasn't disabled at the time, but you know, I had MS. It wasn't easy, and we had to pay her to come help me with a newborn.
No. You can't do that. You can't just say that. You just we
Yeah.
gotta time out again. Time out. For everybody that is accustomed to watching these shows, I gotta have a timeout. You had to do what again? You did what?
Pay my narc mother to come and help me. Her daughter with MS, with a 4-month-old baby girl and a 2-year-old son that was vomiting daily, numerous times a day, with brain cancer.
I'm going to ask you this question. A number of things that we're talking about right now, everybody who's here with us now, and I appreciate you being here and showing support for these live shows. You will see numerous amounts of them, and you're going to see BBB, Bumped, Bruised, and Blessed a few more times. I'm just going to stick this in before we keep going. Oh my goodness, I better have it over here. It's over here somewhere. Here we go. You're going to see Michele again. Let me get this over here. You're going to see Michele on the 19th of April. on the 24th of May and
Yeah.
on the 21st of June. She will be back. We will be putting together more shows for you and more information for you right here on Narc Abuse TV Network, NATV, for you if you want to tell a friend. We both would like you to tell your friends so that YouTube will find out that you like us and that you will hit the subscribe button so we can get more information out to others and spread awareness. Go ahead. You were going to say? What would you say?
Like, comment, share, subscribe. I never do that, and you're supposed to. I'm glad you said that.
Well, we will. Slow growth is better than no growth, and both of us are growing slowly. But she did mention like, comment, of course, share and subscribe. I'm going to put something up on the screen, and I want you to give your honest. I know you will. I don't even know why I'm saying that. I want you to give your opinion and your feelings on what I'm about to put up on the screen. So here we go.
Yes.
I'm going to put a couple of words up here, and I want you to speak to this, especially if you've experienced it as a daughter of a narcissistic mother. Emotional bullying.
Yeah, that's part of the insidious covert abuse, and it's such a tragedy. As a mother myself, it's just so, like, the invalidation and the not acknowledging, like, your validation, as we were saying, is such a critical part of healing. It's just being acknowledged and seen and heard, and like, as the black sheep, you don't get any of that. You're never acknowledged. You're never. So they do things very passive aggressively to degrade you, like emotionally, they tear you down. So it's absolutely emotional bullying. It's psychological abuse, mental, emotional, psychological abuse. And it takes a toll on you physically. Unfortunately, a lot of people that have commented in this community, that have reached out to me separately, a lot of people are suffering the repercussions of this psychological abuse physically, because it has to go somewhere. So
yeah, it does. When it comes to emotional bullying, that's you experienced it. It's not something that you want to pass on to your children, but I want your opinion on this then. And here we go. I'll put up a set of words, and I want you to just speak your heart. Here we go. Guilt and shame. How have these two aspects of your life played out when you were dealing with a narcissistic mother as the daughter?
You will see quite a few of my Instagram posts are based on these two insidious concepts. Shame, one of the things I heard, which I loved, is that shame is not something that comes from within us. It's not an inherent feeling. It's really an externally imposed feeling. It takes outside people to make you feel shame. And the guilt thing is like how narcissistic parents program you to turn against yourself, essentially. So that feeling of guilt is constantly eroding away at you. And one of the biggest variables is religious abuse. And this was one of my most popular posts on Instagram. It's the 10 Commandments. And the commandment, thou shalt not disobey your mother and your father, or something of that nature. It's inapplicable in this situation. These people are not your mother and father. They're not loving, caring, considerate parental figures. But they love to throw that at you to constantly guilt you and shame you. So
As the
shame is, these are things that they use to control you.
Well, that's exactly where I was about to go right now, what you just said. So, as the black sheep of the family, similar to what Mahogany has here on the screen, she says the black sheep needs a lot of alone time. I started to notice that. Mahogany, no doubt, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but you're stating that you yourself are a black sheep and were treated as such. As a black sheep, guilt and shame, even if someone misuses the respectful aspect of your heart, that you want to respect your parent, and tries to use that to beat you over the head as someone abuses you, by no means Michele or myself condoning any abuse that takes place and someone tries to hide behind you should honor your mother and father and they are abusive in any form. You okay over there? Good. Okay. So when it comes to being a black sheep, what does that mean for people that's their first time hearing that? Because you are being controlled as the black sheep. So technically, what does it mean
What I would
when
start,
you say, what is the black sheep of the family? What does that mean? To
yeah,
explain that to those who maybe don't know what it means.
it's the dumping ground. For
The,
these
dump,
people
the
are,
dump, okay, I didn't expect you to say that. The dumping ground? Okay.
yeah, these people are severely unhappy. You know, happy people want
Wait. The black sheep or the people that are dumping on them?
the narcissist,
Okay.
the abusive unit. And the black sheep is ostracized because you have a good heart, you have the best chance at extricating yourself from the dysfunction. And black sheep, they always say, are the truth tellers and the justice seekers. We're the ones that like know something's not right,
Yeah.
and we're the ones that have the power to speak up about it, to stick up for ourselves. And they know that, so they try to smear you, which is like a smear campaign where they're constantly bad mouthing you, talking trash about you, always just speaking poorly about you. Like I was always the problem. Michele was the problem, and you know the black sheep is the problem, is depicted as the problem in the family. But really, you're the only one with, you know, kindness, compassion within you.
What was it like for you when you were confronted with, if you're going to give advice right now, please make sure to go ahead and do it. What was it like for you when you were confronted with a passive aggression or passive aggressive behavior from the narcissist? How would you give advice to somebody that's dealing with that as the black sheep and they get that passive aggressive behavior from the narcissistic parent or family member?
First and foremost, don't give them that power. Don't let them have any hooks in your life at all, because that was my biggest mistake, is that I was constantly like, she's my mother, she should have free reign and full access to me and my family. And she took that and ran with it.
Wow.
And she was constantly using that as her, you know, she took advantage of the leeway I was giving her to hurt me and to, like, they do passive aggressive things. Like my narc mother would constantly tell me after I was diagnosed with MS, she would constantly try to put me in positions where it would be physically difficult for me to attend certain family parties or whatever. There would be stairs or just things that would be, you know, anyone with common sense would be like, that's probably not a good idea. But my mother was like putting me in this, and I would, thank God I had the sense to be like, no, like you have to prioritize yourself and your own well-being to know. And it's like a lot of people try to draw boundaries that are blatantly ignored or crossed because narcissists don't want any restrictions they want to be the ones in control. So my advice to responding to passive, or call them out on it. They hate confrontation. They don't know how to deal with it. You'll see them squirm, and it's almost entertaining when you see it for what it is. People, like, all narcissists are the same. They will always evade accountability. So, like I said, historical revisionism, toxic amnesia, that didn't happen, or you're not remembering that correctly, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Passive aggressive, just call them out on it, but always defend yourself.
Since you're saying defend yourself, in other words, put yourself in a position that you're able to preserve your peace, then tell me your thoughts as we close the show out, because we're going to need to get ready for our next 3 or 4 shows. I think we have 4 more shows coming.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this on the screen, and I want you to give some tips and strategies that someone needs to keep in mind when they're dealing with a narcissist when it comes to this. Healthy boundaries.
Same thing.
How can you have them in a world full of a pandemic full of narcissism?
Just, limit your contact. I would say, like, try to gray rock, and if it results in a narcissistic rage, which most of them will do that, they don't like being restricted or inhibited or having their supply cut off. So you're going to ultimately go no contact. If they leave you no choice, it is what it is. It's their doing, not ours. That is something that I have also come to accept. We did not do this. We wanted parents. We wanted a healthy dynamic. But because these people fail to address their own unresolved issues, it's impossible.
Absolutely impossible, right? In other words, don't try to seek the impossible. Let them deal with whatever they're dealing with. Just don't let it spill over into, like in your case as a parent, it will spill over into your life and into your home and take over.
Yeah, when she tried to target my daughter, all gloves were off. I was like, "You're done here."
Okay, I didn't know about that story. Okay, we're gonna have to. I'm gonna bring that up for next time. I want to hear that. I'm gonna ask you a question about something that you said. I want to make sure I have the information right. The book that you were mentioning was it called Controlling People? Is that what you said?
Controlling People by Patricia Evans.
Okay, all right. Patricia Evans. So again,
next time, because it mentions nothing about narcissists, but it's completely about narcissists, which is so interesting, because back then narcissism was not, well known or even on the radar. But narcissists are so controlling and emotionally abusive, and that's what this book is about.
Okay. If you had to say 2 benefits, my hand over here. 2 benefits. Give me 2 benefits of going no contact. Just 2. I know you can give me 5,000. Just give me 2 before we go. We've gone 49 minutes and 53 seconds and counting. So just 2 benefits. Get over here. Of going no contact from a narcissist.
Being able to finally prioritize yourself, take care of your own well-being, your mental, physical, emotional health, and that's the best thing you can do for your actual loved ones. And the second one is, like, just being mindful, like enjoying your life for what it is. Like, I have a beautiful, amazing, incredible life. And narcissists try to distract you from that. They don't want you to see, like, all the awesome things in your life. They want you to be as miserable as they are. So get rid of the zeros, make room for the heroes.
I was going to say you should get a shirt like that, but I've got to do this before we go. Everybody's going to, and I see a comment there. We're going to put that in here in just a second. I'm going to put that up in just a second, but I got to do this. and get to here in the camera here. This is my cup. Let me go over here.
That is.
My bumped and bruised and blessed cup. I got that. Everybody's gonna just get. I'm sorry, you just gonna have to be bored watching this. And Dee Dee made a comment here. I'm gonna put up on the screen, and I want you to address Dee Dee's comment in just a second. And sent to me. And nobody can see all. They just like one big white envelope, one big white blur. I've got some bumped and bruised stickers. And we're going to put Dee Dee's comment up here, and then you can address that there. And I got one more thing I'm going to grab. See, Dee Dee says the separating of the children. Why is what she's asking.
Oh, it's triangulation. It's triangulation. Narcissists will always, it's like they pick off everyone in the family because they want to, it's like divide and conquer. It's that kind of a, it's like they don't want siblings to kind of join together and form an alliance against the narc. Like way back when I actually used to speak with my brother, we used to complain about her before I knew about narcissism and everything. Like she was just awful. And they don't want anyone to compare notes. They don't want anyone to band together or have a legitimate, genuine connection because they can't do that. They're not able to form genuine, legitimate, authentic connections with anyone. Yeah. So therefore no one can.
I want to give a beautiful, warm-hearted thank you to you, but I can't come up with enough words to do that. So I'll give you my smile.
Yeah, that's okay.
All right, so thank you so much for what you sent, and I did receive. So I want to clarify. Everybody knows I did receive my.
I had to do the dark color because Joe is he.
I got my shirt. I got my cup. I got my stickers. So thank you so kind to me to do so, and I got to stick this in before we go. To everyone who has been a part of this, Dee Dee, Mahogany, all of you for being a part of this. I truly appreciate it. And for all of you, please make sure you hold on to your healthy boundaries as you deal with these situations. Do not get lost in trying to repair or fix someone that you can't. Michele, tell Joe and everyone there, your children, thank you so much for allowing you to do this and take of your time to do so. And you don't have to worry about the bus driver. That's an inside joke. The bus driver from the first time we ever did a show. You will see Michele again, but for right now, Michele, well, let's just, we'll give everybody a thumbs up on the way out. So, everybody, you guys keep going, and we'll see you guys with another show. We have 2 more shows coming this week. So you were going to say what else?
Fight the good fight.
Yeah, there you go. Don't give up, right? Keep your eyes on the prize. We will see everybody later. Thank you so much, Michele. Take care. Everybody have a good day. Bye-bye.